Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Let's start off with the headlines.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe appears before Bond Commission. Bond transactions spark tensions in Parliament yet again. Petroleum Ministry lodges complaint with CID over false rumours on fuel shortage.
For the first time, a Prime Minister requested a chance to make clarifications. I thank the Chairman of the Commission for giving me the opportunity. I got a chance to explain everything. I'd like to mention that the Chairman of the party, the Secretary, went before the Commission without any fear. We have nothing to hide. We will move forward with good governance. There can be mistakes and shortcomings, but we will continue to move ahead with good governance.
Today was an important day at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe arrived at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to provide clarifications to the queries that were raised. We have Zulfiq Farsan, who have been reporting on the Presidential Commission for over 9 months. So, Zulfiq, what happened today?
Well, today, Chaturanga, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was basically, first of all, he was asked, was there a conflict of interest when you appointed Arjuna Mahendan to the post of governor? So he said he was aware that Arjun Aloysius was the son-in-law of Arjuna Mahendan, and when Arjuna Mahendan was appointed to the post of governor, he requested Mahendan to communicate it to Aloysius that Aloysius must step down as the director and CEO of Perpetual Treasuries, and he must not associate himself with any business attached to Perpetual Treasuries, and he must divest all shares under his name in Perpetual Treasuries. Arjun Mahendan had assured the Prime Minister that Arjun Aloysius will do so. Time and time again that assurance was given, and Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Prime Minister, said that he accepted that in good faith. Now, in addition, Ranil Wickremesinghe was questioned about changing the system. Why did he decide to go for a full auction system? Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the previous system lacked transparency and it suppressed interest rates, and therefore he advocated the suggestion to Arjuna Mahendan to go for a more transparent system, which would be the auction system, and he expected Arjuna Mahendan to follow the due procedure in this system. However, previously when Arjuna Mahendan was testifying before the Commission, he said that he got instructions to follow a system with full transparency. Now, in addition to that, Ranil Wickremesinghe was also questioned about a certain other thing, which is relating to a statement that was made by MP Mahindananda Alutgamage to Parliament with regard to the former Finance Minister being given a certain amount of money for an apartment. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that when he asked the former Finance Minister about this, the former Finance Minister said it was not true, and the Prime Minister accepted it. However, when coming back to the auction, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that it was on good faith that he did it, but now it has been established that it was done in bad faith.
Zulfiq, let me get 2 points clear before we move on. Now, you said that the appointment of Arjuna Mahendan to the post of governor was discussed, and so the Prime Minister knew beforehand that Arjun Aloysius held a position at PTL, and the Prime Minister had asked Arjuna Mahendan to remove him. That is what you're saying, to get it clear.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was aware Arjun Aloysius was the Director CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, and when he asked Arjuna Mahendan to ensure that he is removed from that position, Arjuna Mahendan gave the assurance, and Ranil Wickremesinghe made an important point that he said he did not have any information with him that Arjuna Mahendan would deliberately mislead him.
With that, Zulfiq, we have to go into an interesting statement made by parliamentarian Vimal Weerawansa yesterday regarding the bond and the issues that are surrounding it. Let's have a listen to what MP Vimal Weerawansa had to say.
Thank you. Now they are saying that a Prime Minister appearing before a commission of this nature is a victory. They engaged in daylight robbery and got caught. Now the people who should be imprisoned are saying that Prime Minister appearing before the commission sets a good example. He shouldn't be going to the commission, he should be going to jail. He should be wearing the prison garb. The economy of this country crashed because of this robbery.
Zulfiq, interestingly today we saw about 31 MPs and ministers representing the United National Party arriving at the Presidential Commission to provide their support to the Prime Minister, and there were key absentees, notable absentees. One of them was State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe. He was not at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. However, he was at Parliament today. Sujiva Senasinghe wrote a book recently about the bond issuances as well.
The book is called Atha Natha. And now, speaking of Sujiva Senasinghe, he was appointed to the COPE committee in July 2016, that is after the resignation of MP Velukumar. Now it is after that, before that only this book also had come out, and today there were some interesting things in Parliament about this book and also MP Sujiva Senasinghe's involvement, because he is alleged to have made 62 phone calls with Arjun Aloysius during the COPE hearings.
Yes, these 62 calls was heavily debated in Parliament today, and this is what happened at the Parliament.
The bond scam, the Prime Minister's ministry. He brought the central bank under himself. It was then that the largest theft in Sri Lanka's history occurred. And then all of the MPs, including the Prime Minister, tried to justify it. As a result, Sri Lanka has suffered a loss of billions. Today they are taxing the people to cover these losses. The loss is 1 trillion rupees. Minister Sujiva Senasinghe, I am not the one saying this. It was said by Minister Lakshman Wardana. The tax revenue raised since 2014 is equal to the loss of 1 trillion rupees from the bond scam. So all the taxes have been imposed to cover the loss of the bond scam. In 2015, the COPE committee chaired by D. Gunasekara compiled a report on the bond scam. Sujiva Senasinghe was also a member of this committee. But who did he go to town for? This is the first time I have seen him go to court as a lawyer. He went to court seeking an injunction against the release of this report. Are you saying that we need to go to court to see all the people who go to court? We saw you file your case on TV. Eventually, you withdrew this case. For shame. In the end, all you did was go marketing for Arjun Aloysius.
Namal Rajapaksa was the one who went shopping. Ask your boss, Namal Rajapaksa.
Hold on, Minister. I will tell you whether it was Namal Rajapaksa or Sujiva Senasinghe that went shopping. He was the first person to go to court seeking an injunction against the release of this report. Was it Namal Rajapaksa? It was Sujiva Senasinghe. Sujiva Senasinghe is the one who tried to cover it up. Later, he wrote a book. Wait, I will also tell you the details of the book he wrote to cover up the scam. The Truth of the Bond Scam. This is the book written by Sujiva Senasinghe, noting that there had been no theft at the central bank. He should not be sent to the commission. Given what we know about the calls they received from Arjun Aloysius, they should be sent to prison. You should go to prison over this, not only to the commission. You must repay all this money. Here is what he has written in this book on the bond scam. It reads as follows. If you require a certain item and your father-in-law's shop has that item, if you pay the marked price and purchase that item, then what sort of common sense would lead a person to call that a deal? Was this your thinking when writing this book? Is this like going to a shop and buying a loaf of bread? Did the son-in-law go to the father-in-law's shop and buy a loaf of bread? This is a loss of 1 trillion rupees. A loss of trillion rupees.
Everyone in the COPE committee, including Sunil Handunetti, carried out an investigation and compiled a report. Nowhere in the report does it say that the bond issuance was fraudulent. They say that Arjuna Mahendran is responsible, but nowhere does it say that the fraud has been committed. I ask you, if you have any knowledge of the law, why is there no such mention?
Honorable Chairman, I think Sujiva Senasinghe is still joking. He still hasn't stopped marketing for Arjun Aloysius. The entire country knows that a theft has been committed. Everyone in the country, apart from you, accepts that a theft was committed. Over 50% of the cabinet ministers accept that a theft was committed. Even the backbenchers accept it. But you cannot accept it because of your connection with Arjun Aloysius. This is where you get the money for to print your cutouts.
I asked him a question. This is nothing to shout about. I asked why it has not been mentioned by COPE if everyone knows that it is a theft. It is a simple question.
He is joking. then COPE could have punished them. When you see the bond investigation, don't you realize that fraud has been committed?
COPE can't mete out punishment, but COPE can say that a fraud has been committed. I am asking you this. There is no need to shout. Why was this not mentioned?
Honourable Chairman, I am not a member of COPE. They were the ones who were there. So they are the ones who are saying that theft has not been committed. First of all, Honourable Chairman, even his appointment as a member of COPE is a major mistake. How did he become a member? He removed a former member and replaced him. He met the Prime Minister and asked to be included, and the other member was removed. What was the reason for this? Their close association with the accused. He has written a book claiming that no theft was committed. He went to court claiming no theft was committed. In the first place, it is wrong for such a person to become a member of COPE. Aloysius spoke to 5 members of COPE. I will tell you how many calls he received. Sujiva received 62 calls. There have been more than 200 calls, but these 62 calls were made while COPE was in session.
Namal received 800 calls. What is wrong with us contacting a private individual while in COPE? Can you tell me the legalese? He is not an accused. If we can speak to the other officials, then what is wrong with speaking to him? Please explain the crime.
Honourable Chairman, it is a major ethical issue. This is like saying that the judge maintained contact with the accused. This is the same problem. You went to COPE with the instructions of Arjun Aloysius.
COPE does not have the mandate to make a private citizen an accused. We have no right. Since you are speaking from your mouth and not from your backside, please use your brain. Do not display your stupidity.
You speak of fools, but we have not stolen like you. We have not stolen like you. 52 calls have been made. What did you speak about with Arjun Aloysius? Over 200 phone calls. A theft has been made. Thief. You are involved in this theft too. This is how you funded your cutouts in 2015. This is why you wrote a book. But you cannot cover up the theft. It is all in the open now. The whole country knows about you and how you took money from Arjun Aloysius.
I'm now joined by Farah Shaukat Ali, senior journalist who has been monitoring the bond scam from when it happened, and we have been reporting on the bond scam for over 2 years. Farah, now I want to ask you, when we were talking to Zulfiq said that the Prime Minister knew that there was Arjun Aloysius was a director at PTL, and the Prime Minister had asked Arjuna Mahendran, the governor, before appointing him, to clear that matter out, to sort it out before it becomes a conflict of interest. Farah, this is interesting, don't you think?
It's absolutely very interesting, and Zulfiq was reporting what transpired at the Commission of Inquiry into the issuance of bonds by the Central Bank today, when the Prime Minister was present. Now, Chaturanga, if we forget all the salad and we look at the meat, there's one point here, and it's a conflict of interest. The Prime Minister was asked if he knew that Arjun Aloysius was a director and a shareholder of Perpetual Treasuries Limited in 2014. That means before 2015. And he answered in the affirmative. He said yes, he knew that. Well, this begs the question that if there's no if, actually. He knew there was a conflict of interest situation. He should never have appointed Arjuna Mahendran. That is unacceptable.
How? Why is that never? Because for us now,
well, because we're talking about good governance here.
Yes.
One of the things about good governance is that if there's a potential for any conflict, then you leave it well alone.
Procedure, follow the procedure.
You must follow the procedure. Procedure is put in place to ensure that it is a level and equitable playing field for all. That is, by the way, one of the promises made by this government when they were elected.
With what we know, Farah, now, since we are talking about the procedure here now, this brings me to my next problem with what Zulfiq told us a short while ago. When the placement method was changed, the Prime Minister is telling the Presidential Commission that the procedure was changed and there was no time to study the matter.
Well, we can take that as he said, and that he had no time. Well, okay, he had no time to make a study because he says that they were trying to service an economy, part of which was out in the books, and
On and off the books.
On and off the books. Well, that's fine, Chaturanga, because such emergencies do happen. However, there was one other system that the Prime Minister could have put into play to ensure transparency and good governance. And that is, he could have gone to the Cabinet of Ministers, explained his conundrum that he was faced with, and he should have got cabinet approval to change a system. Chaturanga, let me remind you that this system has been in place since 1997 under A.S. Jayawardena, and it went on all the way till February 2015 when one person changed the system.
All this for us, the subject minister, can he change the placement method?
No, the subject minister, in this case the minister is none other than Ranil Wickremesinghe. He is the minister in charge of the subject of the central bank.
Yes.
Now, he can make a suggestion by all means, but there is something called the Monetary Law Act, which envisages that all such changes must be made by none other than the Monetary Board of Sri Lanka.
So whether there was a study being carried out or whether there was no study being carried out, the Prime Minister changing the method of placement is not acceptable.
It is not only is it not acceptable, it is simply against the rules. Every single bit of corruption that this country has been faced with post-independence is because there has been a departure from process. We must understand that all these processes were put in to ensure transparency and an equitable playing field to everyone.
Definitely.
And once you depart from that, that is the root cause of corruption. And there is no good us hiding behind that. There is no other explanation. That is the explanation.
Since we are running out of time for us, very quickly, out of the key points that we just mentioned, what can we gather?
What we can gather is that the Prime Minister has agreed that he knew there was a conflict of interest. He asked Arjuna Mahendran to ensure that the conflict of interest position didn't exist, in the sense that he wanted Arjuna Aloysius to divest his shares and his involvement in perpetual treasuries, and of course we now know that that was never done, because although the shares were divested, it was divested to another business which Arjuna Aloysius was a significant shareholder in at one point. And at the end of the day, this change has resulted in a loss that has been estimated by some experts at 145 billion rupees, and that is it's a colossal amount, and that is from the first bond. Now then, we must bear in mind, Chaturanga, that in the past, J.R. Jayawardena handed over the reins of power, the leadership of the United National Party, to President Ranasinghe Premadasa. Chandrika Bandanayake Kumaratunga handed it over to Mahinda Rajapaksa, who in turn handed it to Maitripala Sirisena. In the case of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, we must bear in mind that either he should resign his position, because his position is quite untenable, or he must be sacked from the United National Party, a la Robert Mugabe and ZANU in Zimbabwe. That is the fate that will happen.
Zulfik, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry and the judges that are sitting in the commission have been doing a yeoman task for about 9 months, starting from February this year. They too had a clarification to make regarding the politicians' phones being tapped. What did they have to say?
Indeed, Chaturanga, they made a very special statement today. The commissioners, led by Justice K.T. Chittasuvi, issuing the statement, said that there are reports going around that MP mobile phones and fixed landlines have been tapped, or their conversations have been recorded. Now, the commissioners reiterated that those reports are utterly false. They said the report that was produced by the forensic analyst of the Criminal Investigations Department contained details only material extracted from Arjun Aloysius's and Arjun Mahendran's mobile phones, and the details provided by the telecommunications service providers. So those details were compiled into a report and analyzed by this analyst, and that report basically contained what you find in a detailed bill. So the Presidential Commission today reiterated that if anyone is saying that conversations have been tapped, that is utterly false, and those statements are factually wrong.
With that, Zulfiq, as we mentioned earlier, Parliament has been happening today during the day, and several views regarding the same subject came up in Parliament. When the privileges issue came up in Parliament, Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla also had questions. So this is what Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla had to say in Parliament regarding the phone tapping.
The Commission's mandate is to inquire and report. Honourable Speaker, it is only to report. While it is not a court, no person has been found guilty of committing any crime. On whose instructions were the details of the MP's phone calls obtained in secret? This is clearly a violation of parliamentary privilege. The publishing of this information is completely wrong. It is our view that both the CID and the Attorney General can only obtain information on MP's phone calls with the permission of the Speaker. Secret information has been made public. As a guardian of the rights and privileges of MPs, I request you to convene a party leaders meeting, including the MPs who have been named and the other parties, to debate this matter and take a suitable action.
It was revealed at the Bond Commission that the former finance minister obtained money. He admitted that he unwittingly accepted the money. His accountant admitted that funds were received outside the books. Where was the debate on this matter to discuss fraud and corruption? It does not suffice to simply resign from his position as minister, does it?
4 MPs who acted in a manner advantageous to Aloysius have convened with them during the term of the COPE investigation. They may have personal associations. There are many people who know Arjun Aloysius. However, as members of COPE, if they had any personal connection with Aloysius, then what they should have done is declare their conflict of interest and rescue themselves from the investigation.
You offered an interpretation that it is wrong to secretly eavesdrop of MPs' phone conversations. However, my contention is that the information that has been revealed is information received from the phone of the accused, Arjun Aloysius. If you are saying that the contacts of these MPs is a problem, then I say let us obtain the phone records of all 225 MPs in Parliament. Let's get the President's phone records too. We are not afraid.
The leader of the House says that MP's privileges have been violated. Can he tell us which privileges have been violated?
Parliamentarian M.S. Mandran appeared on behalf of Sangrapillai Padmanabhan, the employee at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Now, when he tried to mark his appearance in court, Senior Additional Solicitor General Dappula T. Livera objected to it, citing that M.S. Mandran, who was in the COPE committee while Sangrapillai Padmanabhan was giving evidence before COPE, and he said if a person who was in COPE while examining another person who was giving evidence in COPE, and that other person is in fact this person's client, that is Sangrapillai Padmanabhan becoming the client of M.S. Mandran, then appearing on behalf of that person would be a disgrace that is being made to the Commission. However, the Commission allowed M.S. Mandran to mark his appearance, and M.S. Mandran also made an allegation that his client is now interdicted solely because the Commissioners allowed the evidence on the telecommunication information analysis to be tabled before the Commission. However, Justice Prasanna Jayawardena took a firm stand and said that the Commission is not involved in any such action taken by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and if M.S. Mandran needs any clarification, he should address it to the Human Resources Director at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Now, this evening we got reliable information that the Sub-Inspector of the Criminal Investigations Department has been subject to an inquiry. This is coming through reliable sources that his inquiry is based on the report that he produced, that is citing various people communicating with Arjun Aloysius and Arjun Mahendran.
Zulfiq, we know that the proceedings of the Commission commenced at around 10 a.m. today. The Prime Minister came there about 9:50. What time did the Commission conclude its sitting?
Chaturanga, the sittings concluded later on in the day. However, the Prime Minister's evidence examination concluded at 11:30.
So we saw the Prime Minister exiting along with the Minister of Law and Order beside him. Minister Malik Samaravikrama was also there. They left the building at around 11:30, if I'm putting it that way. The IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Pooji Jayasundara, receives calls at various times, especially when he's in front of a podium speaking to a crowd, maybe reporters. Now, interestingly, the IGP received a call from a certain someone today during an event that was held in the Gingtot area. This is what happened. Inspector General of Police Pooji Jayasundara finished the call that he got from the Minister of Law and Order Sagar Ratnayaka, and then he returned to the podium to address the people that were gathered in the Gingtot area. He was addressing all the relevant parties in the Gingtot area with regard to the incidents that transpired 2 days ago. This is what the IGP had to say.
Every result of inhumanity, every religion preaches humanity. However, in their actions, they are all inhuman. They are lesser than animals. We have all failed. The people have failed. The Gramanildari has failed. The police have failed. The special task force has failed. Intelligence has failed. Our advisory committee has failed. All of call, including our clergy and our monks, have failed. We do not want to impose curfew at any time. It is everyone's responsibility to ensure that such a situation does not arise. There were 6 or 7 very low people involved. No one was aware of what happened. Everyone believed the rumors. In the midst of all of this, various media institutions reported false opinions. On social media sites, personal mudslinging attacks were carried out against people and inciting people. Should this happen in a civilized society? Following the beating we received from the war, isn't this paving the path for another catastrophe?
22 people have been remanded so far over the incident in Gintota. The third suspect has been identified as Mohammad Nasim Hussein Nias. He is a former UMP member of the Bope Poddala Pradesh Sabha, who has also served as the opposition leader of the Pradesh Sabha.
We saw how the Gintota incident proved to be a smoke screen for the Prime Minister testifying before the Bond Commission. We also witnessed how rumours were spread and another fuel crisis just before the Prime Minister appeared before the Commission. How can these things take place? What actions will they take? There are issues regarding the behaviour of local politicians in connection to the Gintota incident. Who let these problems drag for so long? Investigations should be held to ascertain who is behind all of these. We know how a senior secretary of the President called Minister Sagala Ratnayaka's residence the day the incident took place. The Minister's mobile phone was switched off, and when this particular individual called his residence, his servant had said that the master is sleeping. Yes, he has been sleeping all this time. The servant has also said that Vajra Abewardhana is doing the work and Minister Sagala will issue a media statement the next morning. This shows how the Minister of Law and Order was interested in this issue.
බොහොම පැහැදිලි මේ ප්‍රශ්නය සම්බන්ධයෙන් නීතිය හා සාමය බාර අමාත්‍යවරයාට තිබුණු බරපතල.
With all that is happening in the country, the people seem to be losing their trust in the government. A classic example for this would be how a rumor created panic among the public with regard to the petrol shortage. The subject minister, Minister Arjuna Ranatunga, made clarifications in this regard as well.
Several text messages and Facebook updates have caused the public to panic. So there were queues at filling stations last night and this morning. I can responsibly state that we have sufficient stocks of petrol and diesel. Within the next 2 weeks, there are 3 ships that will be reaching the country. Even we've received these messages. Some filling stations are holding back stocks. We will take legal action against such persons, and if need be, we will even take over these filling stations. We cannot let this go on like this. If there is any shortage, I will inform the public through the media. This is an organized attempt.
Welcome back to the news. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka notes that Sri Lanka could suffer a loss of 50.62 billion rupees due to implementation delays of the 2018-2020 power plant schedule in the long-term generation expansion plan.
The Public Utilities Commission notes that implementation issues pertaining to power plants identified in least cost long-term generation expansion plans or LCLTGEP have been prevalent over the last 20 years and has resulted in serious problems that have plagued the electricity sector over the past decade and seriously hampered its progress. The report notes that the CEB expects the Kerawala-Pittiya 300 megawatt natural gas-fired power plant to be commissioned in June 2020, a delay of around 18 months. The PUCSL notes that the country will incur a loss of around 28 billion rupees due to the delay. The 122 megawatt Uma Oya hydro plant was expected to be commissioned by January 2019. However, the expected commissioning date is not given in the CEB implementation plan. The report notes that a one-year delay of the project will cause a loss of around 6.4 billion rupees. The CEB was expected to create 3 solar power plants during the 2018-2020 period. However, a one-year delay to these 3 projects could cause an accumulated loss of around 5.44 billion rupees. A one-year delay of commissioning 3 wind power plants could result in an accumulated loss of around 9.02 billion rupees. The PUCSL, in conclusion, makes 3 observations. The Commission recommends expediting the procurement of the power plants in accordance with the approved national. Cumulative effect of implementation delays over next 3-year period can very likely trigger a power crisis that can seriously affect the national economy. And the Commission does not purchasing emergency power in the future to meet any capacity or energy deficit due to implementation delays of these upcoming power plants, and is of the view that such costs should not be passed through to the consumers through tariffs.
Shakti FM, which for years has been bringing a novel experience to its Tamil listeners, celebrates its 19th birthday today. Shakti FM commenced operations on the 20th of November 1998, bringing a new twist to radio at the time. The celebrations to mark the 19th birthday of Shakti FM were held at the Department Studio Complex and saw the participation of members of the Capital Maharaja organization.
This is an exciting year for Shakti FM as part of Sri Lanka's largest private media network. We will continue to innovate and give you some of the best in programming, news and current affairs as we have done over the past 19 years. We will lead and innovate, and we will cater to the strong and loyal listenership. A sincere thank you to our listeners. Shakti is your station. Just like we promised you 19 years ago, Shakti will remain the voice, the strength and the power of the Tamil-speaking people.
Shakti FM has grown from strength to strength with the blessings of religious leaders, our sponsors and the dedicated workforce. All our gratitude should be extended at this moment to the chairman of the Capital Maharaja organization, Mr. Raj Mahendran, and his son, Mr. Shashidharan. It was their dedication and direction that led to the growth of Shakti FM. People have grown up listening to Shakti FM and today has become a part and parcel of one's lifestyle. Through Shakti FM, the channel has delivered news and programs to our listeners. Shakti FM has been edged in the hearts of the Tamil-speaking community today. As a radio channel, Shakti FM does not compete. We believe we are our own competition. Shakti FM follows uniqueness and stands out from the rest. As a radio station, the channel has always stood by the people.
Join us again after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the news. Now for some sports news, it's cricket. The first test between Sri Lanka and India ended in a draw today after Sri Lanka survived an early scare. Chasing 231 for victory, Sri Lanka lost 7 wickets for 75 runs before play was halted due to bad light.
Stay tuned to TV1 for Face the Nation, where former bankers, lawyers and activists discuss Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's evidence before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Treasury bond transactions. What can we make of his evidence and where will it lead the inquiry to?
Face the Nation tonight at 9:30 p.m. on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jitendra Kunasena.
And I'm Sharon Silva. Take care and good night.